Going on, guys? Open hand here. So I've been playing a lot of Throne and Liberty lately, ever since it launched out here in the West. And I figured I'd go ahead and show you guys what kind of build I've come up with here. Now, just a little bit of a disclaimer here. I never played any Throne and Liberty until it launched out here in the West. I started a couple days late, so I'm still learning some stuff. You know, as I go here, but I was kind of looking for builds just in general, and I decided when I started to play that I was going to play Greatsword 1 just because I thought, it seemed pretty cool to be able to like have a lot of sustain and do damage and whatever. And everything I've read about Greatsword 1 has been like it's like a terrible class combination and all that stuff. So of course I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to figure out something here that works, and I think I have. I think it's actually pretty good because in both specializations there's a shitload of AOE. Every build that I've seen is like really utilizing, I think, the wrong parts of the two classes. So yeah, I just figured I would go ahead and show you guys what I came up with here. Now I have a few builds, but for this one I'm just going to use the one that I use the most, or show the one that I use the most here. I like a healer build, a tank build and stuff, which is also a really good thing about Greatsword 1 is that you can switch roles on the fly. You can literally be DPS, you can literally be healer, or you can literally be a tank. But again, for this one, this will basically be my DPS AOE kind of build here. Again, because it would take too long to go through all three. But if you're interested after the video, leave in the comments, let me know if you want to see my other two builds. I'd have no problem making another video. But yeah, with that said, just Greatsword 1 gets a lot of flack for just not being very good. I want to say, firstly, that I've only played PvE. I've not done any PvP. This probably would get bodied in PvP. Maybe there's a couple of slight adjustments that could be made to make it, better, viable, and all that. But I'm solely playing PvE right now, free-to-play player, trying to gear and all that. So haven't really touched PvP yet. But with that said, let's get into the build here. So to start, we'll go with the skills here. And the idea of this build here was that, okay, there's a lot of AOE in the Wand class, and there's a shitload of AOE as well in the Greatsword class, and I just figured there's got to be a good combination that you can use to just do a ton of AOE all the time and have cooldowns relatively ending at good times to be able to constantly be able to use abilities and stuff. And this is what I came up with here. I'll just go through the skills here. Cruel Smite, obviously, just very, very good. It has AOE properties as well. And to Touch of Despair, another one. I'll get into skill specialization in a little bit, but I take the thing that spreads it to multiple targets, and chance to proc to and all that stuff. Frost Cleaving, another huge AOE that's really, really good. Stunning Blow, again, you can use this in combination with Guillotine Blade to do a ton of damage. And Guillotine Blade itself, again, if you take the specialization, turns into an AOE, assuming you have enough crit and heavy attack, which we do, and I'll get into gear and stuff, and I'll show you that stuff in a little bit. Obviously, I'm still gearing too, so this will only get stronger, which will be cool. But yeah, Stunning Blow and the Guillotine Blade is like the most probably common combo that any Greatsword user will use. And lastly, on the first line, I have Death Blow just because it does a ton of single target damage, and the cooldown on it is quite low, so it's good to just put in as filler when all the other stuff is on cooldown, because all these abilities, other than Cruel Smite and Touch of Despair, have very long cooldowns. So it's nice to have a couple of these just to be able to do all the time. Now after that, I got Enchanting Time, I got Fighting Spirit, Barrier, and Willbreaker. Now this is another reason why I think that Wand is so good with Greatsword, is because like these buffs here are massive, and especially if you're doing AOE damage, like it just kind of compounds, right? So basically what I'll do before every fight is I'll proc all three of these, and it will raise my damage substantially, and then I'll just spam all my AoEs basically. It's kind of the game plan here. But yeah, Enchanting Time, huge boost to skill damage. Now the way that I have it set up is that it targets me personally, and it's not like, doesn't target an enemy to like decrease their skill damage, or skill defense rather. And the reason I have that, again, is because this is focused a lot more on just raw damage and AoE. If there are multiple targets, it's kind of a waste to just put it on one, so I figured it'd be better just to buff me before I throw out all my AoEs. and I like it a little bit better. But if you're fighting a boss, you can go ahead and switch up the skill specialization to make it so it targets the boss. If you want to do that, so your whole party can benefit from the decreased spell defense on the boss. Second here, fighting Spirit Bear raises your max damage by 80, which is good. Our crit chance is pretty good, and it'll only get better as time goes on. So this is just a huge increase in general, just all the AOEs. So obviously you have these two on at the same time, and then you would use Will Breaker to further lower enemies' defense, which I think is really good. I have the specialization on here where I do like a full circle, which is nice. So what I'll do basically is run into a pack of enemies and spam these, and I'll Will Breaker everything as well, and then I'll just, you know, again spam out all my AoEs. After that, Corrupted Magic Circle. Again, I have this one built a little weird. Skill specializations will show a lot, but this is a pretty good ability in my opinion. Like, the damage over time is like no joke in this build, by the way. And one thing that I didn't even know initially until I really started doing a little bit of research is damage over time can actually heavy attack. So if you have a lot of heavy attack chance, you'll do double damage with your dots, which is really good. So this does more damage obviously over time than Touch of Despair. So it's just really good. The problem with this one though is like the cooldown I think is a little long. I hope maybe like in a future patch they'll lower it at least a little bit. But in 30 seconds it's pretty long. But you know, I still think it's worth it because it does do a lot of damage when it's all said and done. After that, Curse Explosion. Obviously try to get a lot of stacks of Touch of Despair on multiple enemies. You use this, hits everybody around you with the damage over time, and then you would use Curse Explosion to do another mass AoE damage. And then lastly here I have Swift Healing, just because you know, again, and the spirit of the build, it is like a Paladin build. You know, it's kind of it still is like a hybrid of like everything at the end of the day, even though this one here is, you know, spec'd basically for damage. It's nice to have like a heal in your back pocket, and Swift Healing in general is just a really good ability. You know, no cast time. You can spam it. If someone's about to die, you can save them. If you're about to die, you can save yourself. Just really good. I think you should just have this on every build if you're going to run these two weapons here. Now with skill specialization, it worked out nicely. As you can see, I have 0 points remaining, and I'm pretty happy with everything that I got. For Cruel Smite, or for I don't remember the original name of this. You want to take Cruel Smite though, for this, just you know, just the benefits that it gives. And then Stunning Blow. Obviously, you want your cooldown reduction, and you want your increased damage. After you use Stunning Blow, increased damage for your next attack by 150%. Again, like I said, Stunning Blow and the Guillotine Blade is kind of the go-to, like easy, like especially single target damage combo that you want. But it's just really good. And you know, if you land your AoE on your Guillotine Blade by getting a crit or a heavy attack, obviously the same amount of damage will apply to enemies all around. So it's just really good. Let's see here. For Death Blow, I simply take the charge. I don't take cooldown because I wanted to put the points elsewhere, and honestly the cooldown on Death Blow is not that long anyways, so you don't really need it in my opinion. It's just you can put points in better spots to make the build a little better. Frost Cleaving, obviously I take the Frost Cleaving here. It just adds a lot more damage and all that. It makes it like a circular AoE, which is really nice, because as I said, I like to run into a pack of enemies, buff up, throw down Will Breaker, and then, you know, Frost Cleaving will hit everything else that just got Will Broken. So that's good. There's a couple, like attack speed would be nice, but I don't have any points, just because attack speed also increases how quickly you charge for your attacks or cast your spells. So particularly be good with like Guillotine Blade or what's the other one here? Corrupted Magic Circle, right? Just to be able to cast those a little bit quicker, but it's not really necessary. So yeah, just Frost Cleaving there. Will Breaker, I'm doing the full circle thing. I think it's worth it, just because sometimes enemies will get behind you and you can't hit them all. So again, you're just trying to blow up stuff as quickly as you can in like an AoE. So it just seemed like a good choice. Guillotine Blade, take everything. Cooldown speed, the charge, and obviously the AoE damage as well. Now the cool thing is, like, this has cooldown reduction, this has cooldown reduction. These basically line up perfectly as far as cooldowns go. You can see 17.4 here, and then 17.4 here. So they have literally the exact same cooldown. So again, it's just like you can always use these in conjunction, which is really nice. Now for the wands here, on Touch of Despair, I'm taking everything. I take the you know, spreads to 2 additional targets. I take the effect duration, because obviously the longer that you have the curses out, the more damage you're going to do. And the way Curse Explosion works too, it takes into account how much duration you have on your curses before it applies the full curse damage. So any extra duration you can get is really, really good for Curse Explosion as well. So I take the increased duration, and then I also take Curse, which is a 50% chance to apply 2 stacks touches of spare. Now the way this works with radius increased is that for every, like, the 3 targets that you can potentially hit, there's a 50% chance each time, obviously for all 3 of those. So it's kind of nice the way that that works. And the way that my skill rotation works, which I'll show you in a little bit, you end up casting Touch of Spare twice throughout your skill rotation. So you know, very high chance that you're going to get 3 stacks of this on, you know, 3 of the enemies that you're fighting. So it works out nicely. For Curse Explosion, I'm going to take the you know, 50% decrease in damage, but you maintain your you know, damage over time on the enemy. Very important with this build too, because we have like the passive ability, the vampire thing, where if you're hitting an enemy that has a curse on them, you heal. And if you don't use this ability on Curse Explosion, it will remove the damage over times, thus removing the you know, effect where you can heal. Which, again, there's a lot of, you know, sustain in this build too. But you know, so that vampire ability, it's really important to have the damage over time on your enemies as much as you can, so you're getting that additional healing. Touch of Spare increases, you know, damage by, you know, 10% per stack. Again, we're gonna have 3 stacks most of the time on all the enemies in our area, so this is just pure raw damage. 5 points, seemed worth it. For Swift Healing here, all I'm taking is consecutive use to be able to use it 3 times in a row. You know, there's a lot of heavy attack and crit on here, so it's you know, healing's not really too big of a deal. You don't need to take healing transfers, for example. This is a really good ability, but when I was kind of building this, I just thought, you know, I'm not always healing, right? But I am always using stuff like Touch of Despair, Curse Explosion, etc. So I thought it was not really necessary to use this because it is 10 points. Very good ability, but I think consecutive use is fine as far as sustain goes for this build. And again, we have the Vampiric Touch, or whatever the heck it's called, I can't remember right now, ability too, where we're healing a lot just doing raw damage. So you know, this is fine. Swift Healing, great ability though. After that, Corrupted Magic Circle. The only thing I took for this is additional damage. So when you use it, it'll have like an immediate burst damage of like 260 of your base, which is nice. And that obviously can crit, can heavy attack, so it's just more damage. That seems like a good add, and I like it so far. After that, Enchanting Time. I'm using, as I said, if you want to put this on a boss or something, you don't have to use the, you know, Enchanting Time. But I like Enchanting Time because, again, I'm using it a lot of time for just mob clearing out in open world dungeons and all that. So I like this. I think it's very, very good. After that, Fighting Spirit Barrier, just to increase my damage further, so we just have more big burst damages and stuff like that. Okay, wait. So we get into the passives here real quick, if I can remember what I'm doing. There we go. Alright, for the passives, gonna take Robust Constitution. It's just a ton of health. Some of the builds that I've seen that like run this combination don't run this, and it kind of blows my mind. Like, this is like, in my opinion, if you're running Greatsword, you're running Robust Constitution. So I mean, you get like 2,000 health. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. Vital Force, this increases just your, you know, skill damage overall, stun chance, hit chance, just based on your max health. And eventually, as, you know, gearing gets better, we're gonna end up probably with a lot more health. So this is just, again, another pretty much no-brainer. Cold Warrior is really, really nice. Anything that you stun, you have an increased chance to heavy attack and increased critical chance as well. Now, obviously, our only stun really is Stunning Blow, as far as like, you know, the easy ones that we can do. But another thing to notice is our parry ability will also stun stuff in an AOE around us. So I mean, I think that's good enough, like in an open world dungeon, especially when you're constantly using these kind of parry attacks. So you don't need something like Guillotine Blade or anything, in my opinion. Or not Guillotine Blade, Devastating Smash, in my opinion, to where like you can stun AOE. You don't really need that. Plus, this one has a really, really big cooldown, and the damage isn't great. I think you're fine with just using stunning blow and this for your stuns to be able to, you know, benefit from this, and I think it's more than enough. After that, I'm using Wraith's Beacon. This increases the curse duration by, I think it ends up being like 3 seconds or something once you have this maxed out. And curse chance, which is good. This is just more damage for your dots. And again, dots damage really does add up in this build. So you want to, you know, we want to try to increase it wherever we can. So, you know, actually a 2.7 right now is great. After that, Devotion and Emptiness. This is a really, really good ability. This will boost your swift healing during the day and reduce its cooldown. And at night, it will increase all your curse damage and their cooldowns. I'm pretty sure it, you know, decreases the cooldown for Curse Explosion as well, which is good because they are quite lengthy. And then after that, I'm using Raging Frenzy. If you have 3 or more enemies within your radius, you get increased spell damage. Again, it's kind of obvious. AOEs, that's kind of the name of the game here. So we obviously want more spell damage when we can get it. After that, Indomitable Armor. This is a really good ability. Again, like I said, the way that it plays, I run into a pack of enemies, so I'm getting hit quite a bit. And this will just stack up my armor, so I have a lot more survivability. Just really, really good. And then lastly, Vampiric Contract, that's what it's called. This was one of the abilities I saw where I was like, damn, this could be really, really good, like with a Greatsword. It's kind of made me want to build this kind of setup because, yeah, you just heal for so much. And the thing about, you know, the Greatsword is like, you have a lot of like really high burst damage with just Guillotine Blade and stuff like that in general, which will heal you for a shitload. And if you're hitting with all these AoEs, if they have a lot of curses on them around, then you're going to heal for even more. As far as I can tell, it's kind of hard to see the numbers all the time, but I'm like 95% sure that like if you're hitting multiple enemies with your AoE that have curses on them, you're just going to heal multiple times. At least it should work that way. So yeah, a lot of sustain and stuff like that. So I guess quickly after that, I will go ahead and show you guys what kind of gear I got at the moment. Obviously, I'm still gearing stats over here. Very important to get 50 strength so you get that extra heavy attack chance. Again, heavy attack can apply to your dots, which is really, really good. It can apply to your healing. So find heavy attack chance wherever you can get it. That's currently what I'm working on right now with my weapons, is trying to max out heavy attack chance. But again, free to play, so it's going to take a little while. It's hard to get all that loosened, but I'll get through eventually. 30 dex. This just comes from my sword, which is good. You get that extra crit chance, which I think is fine. I don't think you need to go crazy with crit in this build, but it is obviously nice to have where you can get it. You know, and some of my gear pieces right now have crit, so it's, you know, I have a reasonable amount of crit. But down the road, once I get everything, I don't know. We'll see how much crit I got, but for now, I think it's great. Wisdom, this is good to have, but it's just like I don't really have the points. The thing about strength and perception is that it boosts both your minimal and your maximum attack. So I think these are just overall better to get when you can get them. And, you know, perception increases your chance to stun and increases your buff duration as well. So it's just a really, really good stat. It's hard to find points to put in the wisdom, even though it's, you know, increases your mana regen, which is nice for this build, even though we're not really running out of mana ever, because I do have quite a bit of gear that I can supplement to have, you know, a lot of mana regen. But, you know, wisdom's nice when you can get it, but it's not like priority. I'd say, you know, it's probably, I don't know, it's good, but it's not something I think that's worth investing the points in. Because again, if you're boosting your base damage attack with strength and perception, your heals are going to be better, your damage is going to be better, your stay is going to be better because of you're doing more damage and Vampiric Contract's healing you. So, yeah, I mean, if you can find points for wisdom, that's great. But as far as gear goes right now, again, I'm still gearing. It's going to be a little while. I was able to get Liquir's Coveted Tome, which is, I think, probably the best one that you can get. Wisdom, Perception, Critical Chance, you know, really, really good. And as far as traits go, it's your typical hit chance, crit chance, and heavy attack chance. And I was finally able to get Duke Magnus Fury Warblade. Had to actually craft this by running dungeons a million times, but finally got one. Unfortunately, I rolled stun chance on it, but I'll get that fixed eventually. But again, I think once you get these weapons, you want to prioritize getting the heavy attack chance first, and then probably crit, and then hit chance. So, as far as the actual armor and stuff goes, right now I'm using the Gloomguard Wing Helmet. You got cooldown speed in the trait. I think that's really important. Try to get as much cooldown speed as you can. That's the one thing about Wisdom that I like, is the cooldown speed, but it's way too hard to get up to like 50 to get that, you know, 5% cooldown reduction, just don't think it's quite worth it. Deadeye's Cloak, mana regen, that's something that I got on a lot of this, is just a lot of mana regen when I can find it. So that's what I would recommend. Gloomguard Gauntlets, Strength, Crit Chance, mana regen, attack speed. Ruthless Enforcer Leggings. This had strength on it, so I was like, yeah, because I really wanted to hit 50. Gloomguards, Sabatons, again, strength 50. And again, I'm basically picking endurance here because I know I'm not going to build much into dex. So I think endurance is probably better to get at the moment. So after that, Class of the Conqueror, rolled health on this, which is great. Eventually I'll get this all traded out. Bracers of the Primal King, same thing, rolled health on it. Still leveling it, eventually I'll get it traded. This is the ring that you get from the story. It's got some health and some defense, which is nice, but obviously going to want to upgrade that eventually. Got super lucky, got a Band of Universal Power. Thought about selling it, but I was like, nah, you know, I'll keep it because I'll probably never get another one. You know, you got to take the luck when it comes to you. So I figured I'd just hold on to this. That's a huge stat bomb here, you know, 3 and everything. Really, really good. And lastly, I have Regeneration Loop for, you know, my belt. Whew, all right. That said, I guess I'll quickly just show you the rotation that I use here. So I'll just do it, and then I'll talk about it. So this is, you can just kind of see what I'm doing here. Look down at the bottom. Alright, so that's kind of how it looks. Let's quickly go over what I use in the order and everything. So to start, I will use Enchanting Time, and then I'll use Fighting Spirit Barrier, then I'll use Willbreaker. Something to kind of know here is that Willbreaker doesn't work on the dummies, so the damage would be a little bit different. You know, you'd technically be doing more or whatever, but like to mob, but it doesn't work here. But it's, you know, part of the rotation. Then after I do that, I will apply Touch of Despair. Then I will use Frost Cleaving, and then I will use Stunning Blow into Guillotine Blade, and then I will use Corrupted Magic Circle, and then I will use Touch of Despair again, so that would hopefully have 3 stacks on all the enemies around me, or at least 3 of them or whatever, and then I will finish it with a Curse Explosion, and then I will use Death Blow. So real quick again, I'll show you. That's basically the combo that I'll use. Again, it really is quite a bit of damage. Again, I'll end up doing more as I get better gear and everything like that. But yeah, just if you're playing Greatsword Wand, just don't give up. You know, just play it. It's fun. If you're enjoying it, you know, a lot of people might give you shit. I literally had a guy in the dungeon the other day ask me, like, why are you playing Greatsword Wand? It's terrible. And I just told him, like, it's fun. I enjoy it, and I don't think it's quite as bad as people think. So yeah, I think that's everything with the build. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you want to see like my healer variant, or my tank variant, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.